Wait, 1 second, Charles. You have no compassion for someone who doesn't look like your daughter, who doesn't look like your son. And so that's what we've seen in this instance where these are young African American females, but these people, including two damn women out there, who had no compassion for these young girls. Ashton, let's talk about that.
Well, I mean, again, just like you see the painting of George Floyd behind me? Let's go back to that. The whole idea of the other officers just standing there and looking away happen to be people of color, right? Black or brown people. This is something about systemic racism that needs to be discussed, how it permeates in media through the news media, through our entertainment, through everything that we experience, because everything that we have is predicated on race. That's what the social construct in this country was built on. And so when we look at how we measure ourselves, it's always with a percentage and not as a whole. And that's what the problem is. Black folks are whole humans. And until we get past all of the racism at every level, in the medicine world, when black women are talking about I'm in pain while giving childbirth and nearly die because the doctor won't listen to them, because the nursing manual still says that black people have a higher pain threshold, that came from looking at us as animals.
We're going to take a quick break here, Ashton. We'll come back and continue this conversation with you guys. We'll be back on the fact. Rashonda, your thoughts on this situation?
You know, it just infuriates me because people often wonder why, as Black Americans, we are angry. And this child was 6 years old, and I am just waiting on the video. And I hate to say this, I hate playing the race card, but where are the white kids that you put on the ground? You don't see it, because when you see them immediately, when you see a group of white girls in a car, you wouldn't even think about putting them on the ground like that. And that is my problem with all of that. We are seen as less than, period.
Charles?
Well, I don't think you can holistically say that you are seen as less than, right? We can't. And when you brought up the Morgan State professor, he was referring to white people as subhuman, and that's not the appropriate response to anything. There are obviously a great number of people that see people that they don't see as homogenous to them as somehow less than them, and it's a horrible thing. And clearly, there's a legacy of it in America that needs to be addressed. I do think the rejoinder is that when white girls are put on the ground, it doesn't create the same media fervor, so you're really not going to see it. But statistically, it does not happen as frequently. While it happens, it does not happen with the frequency that it happens to people of color. And that's what we need to change. And the way to change it is accountability. We had another incident in Aurora where a protester, a white guy, pulled out a gun and shot other protesters trying to shoot someone in a car just this week. And the story about Elijah McClain is horrifyingly tragic, and it took so long for there to even be a motion towards justice that it's just disgusting. And that's what leaves people disenfranchised. But officers that treat young girls like this should be fired the next day. And until we fix that, until we create a system of accountability, we're not going to fix anything.
You're right. Ashton?
Well, I mean, Charles brings up a good point about the accountability piece. I mean, look at Houston, for example. I mean, the officers here Houston police officers under the union contract currently get 2 days before they even get disciplined reprimanded. So, yeah, accountability is a thing, and justice needs to be more rapid. And we actually need to hold folks accountable, including right here in Houston.
Do you expect more from the new police chief there who was appointed just Monday, Rashonda, I think?
Yeah, you know, she came in, she wanted to have a conversation, and she wanted to apologize. You know, I'm not one for suing, but I hope this family sues the pants off of this city, because that's ridiculous, and that's what will matter. That's what will make a difference, and maybe have these officers think twice. I understand she has to do a thorough investigation, but she should have come in and immediately, the video is there. The kid's on the ground. She was able to see that. And so for me, she's starting off on the wrong foot for the Black community, because that reaction should have been swift. Justice for those kids should have been swift.
All right. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored. And of course, we still have a lot of discussing to do on this issue down the road. We won't get it resolved here, but we thank each of you for joining us here. And we'll be back with more Factor in just a moment.